Tonight, we are going to be exploring another subject, and we're going to be looking at a couple of things. So I would like to start by asking how many of us went through the case study that was dropped in the group, the case study on McDonald's. If you were opportune to go through it, please share with me briefly one or two things that comes to mind. If you were opportune to go through the case study, please, what comes to mind? Nobody is talking. Is there a network problem somewhere?
Good evening, Dr. Mike.
Okay, Nancy said good evening. Mr. Chinedu said good evening. All right. So yes, please go ahead.
So I went through the material, very interesting material indeed.
Okay.
I think to a large extent, the material captures some of the things you've been teaching us.
Talking about, yes.
Yes, Mr. Kroc, right? I think Kroc. Yeah,
yes.
You know, the business idea wasn't originally his. He was inspired by successes of McDonald's, but he came with innovative ways of scaling up the business.
Yes.
I think his major drive was to scale up the business and to, you know, make it better. So he came and negotiated with McDonald's and went into some kind of collaboration or partnership to scale up what they were doing in McDonald's. And he brought in a lot of innovation, you know, focus on customer satisfaction, some other very important aspects of the business, making sure that our standards are maintained, standardization. And when that, especially this customer satisfaction, because actually the essence of business is to render services to customers. So the customer is the reason why there is business. So Mr. Kroc and McDonald's focusing on the customer satisfaction is a very important one. And when they did, the business began to grow. Another thing I can immediately remember is that they were able to, you know, go into franchise. Yes. So people came to take, and he was very, very particular about maintaining standards, you know, the franchises. And that made the business to become an international business with one standard, with consistency and customer satisfaction. And I also noticed that going into other nations, he was adaptable. He made sure that he adapted to peculiar situation in that area while maintaining his standards. These are a few things that come to mind immediately, you know, you ask the question.
Great. In fact, you've just earned yourself a mark. For some of you who are waiting for examination or waiting for, the only thing we do is quiz and conversations and meetings, interactions, questions and answers. So what Mr. Chinedu just did is exactly what we are expecting every one of you to do. Go through the materials, extract as much as you can, and implement as fast as you can. Go through the materials, extract as much as you can, implement as fast as you can. You see, you can't study business without studying businesses. So when you come to schools like this, be prepared to study at least 25 different businesses. So part of what you're going to notice is that before the end of your program, you'll be exposed to a whole lot of businesses. Some you can relate with, others you can't. Some you enjoy, others you don't. But the most important thing is by studying these existing businesses, you provide your mind with a mental model. A mental model is necessary for starting and running a successful business. You need references. You need to say, like in the case of, we're just like researchers and lawyers. We build we build our enterprises by looking at references from some other industries and some other entrepreneurs. So not only are you supposed to be familiar with other people building great businesses, but you're also supposed to be very, very conversant with other businesses around the world. The more you study these businesses, the more you discover opportunities for yourself, and the more you begin to see that maybe you are in line or maybe you are out of line. So I encourage everyone to take the case studies seriously. During my previous class, I did about 4 or 6, 4 or 6, excuse me. My wife is cooking in the house and I think it's beginning to affect me. So we did, so we did, we did 4 or 6 case studies or so. And babe, can you come open this place? And it's sort of created a mental model for many of us. So please, I indulge you to go through them. Today, we are looking at how to transform ideas into products that people want and are willing to pay for. How to transform ideas into products that people want and are willing to pay for. I want to begin with a quotation by Josh Kaufman. Josh Kaufman said, even the most ingenious idea will fail if no one wants it. If no one wants what you have to offer, it will fail. And then he went on to say, creating something that no one wants is a waste. A waste of what? A waste of time. Oh, Sally, I think you will share your experience maybe towards the ending of the program if we still have time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of effort. It's a waste of mind. It's a waste of so many things that has to come into place for business to be established. So while you're creating your business, you have to think of the people, otherwise known as the market. Is there a market for this? Are people going to buy? Mark Andreessen said, markets matters most. Neither a stellar team nor a fantastic product will redeem a bad market. Markets that don't exist don't care how smart you are. In other words, it doesn't matter how robust your solution is. It doesn't matter how fantastic your ideas are. If there is no market for it, you're not going to make money. Neither are you going to be able to build a business. So for us to build businesses, we have to find a perfect match between a product and a market. We have to create things that people don't just want to have, but are also willing to pay for. Without enough revenue to sustain it, any business will fail. If a business does not have consistent recurring revenue, the business will surely fail. And for us to have consistent recurring revenue, we need to create things that people actually want. We have to have products that millions of people don't just want, but are also willing to pay for. So personally, I think we as entrepreneurs hold these truths to be self-evident. First truth is that every business exists to serve a market. I don't care what your business is. I'm sure it exists to serve a market. Whether you are selling soaps or you are creating chemicals, it exists to serve a market. And secondly, the size and the quality of that market determines how much the business could be worth. If the size is small and the quality is cheap, the business could be worth nothing. If the size is small, but the quality is huge, as in the case of private jets, as in the case of Tesla products, some of Tesla products, and some other luxury products like Lamborghini and the rest of them. If the quality is good, but the size is small, the size of the market I'm referring to, then of course you may have a business if you're able to push it. And I want to also say that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that if you don't have a large group of people who really want what you have to offer, then your chances of building a viable business are very slim. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs come to me and they will say, I want to go into business. I want to start up something. And I say, how many people do you think have this problem? You discover that sometimes people are starting up businesses and the market is not very large. there is not a good enough number of people who are seriously pressed by this problem you're trying to solve. Now, are there people who may have succeeded in markets that they went ahead of the market? Yes, but you and I may not have that privilege. Let me give you an example. Facebook, it took Facebook over 7 years to get to a point where it became profitable or profit generating, not even profitable, but profit generating, over 7 years or 6 years plus or so. Not sure the actual figure. The question is, who was funding this company? Because billions in Naira were invested, millions in dollars were invested in the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, sixth year before we start talking about profit. Somebody trusted the idea enough to put that money, and that person must have the capacity, the financial wherewithal to be able to spend that kind of money. But you and I, we're African entrepreneurs. How many Nigerians do you think can comfortably give you 100 million Naira and have the patience for you to break even in 6 years? Very few, if not nobody at all. And even if there are such people, do we have such people in our connections? In many cases, no, we don't. So the realities of being an entrepreneur in Nigeria is very, very different from the realities of being an entrepreneur in developed countries. That is why I listen to indigenous entrepreneurs. I used to read a lot of books by foreigners. I love them. Wonderful ideas, great concepts. Fire your boss, go for funding, have an idea, convince people to give you hundreds of millions into your ideas, bright ideas. In fact, there is even a book called Think and Grow Rich. And then in 2015, I realized that even though foreigners are very bright and wonderful, they don't have the experience to break down their ideas and concepts into something that we Nigerians can relate to. So the problem is when you are not listening to an indigenous successful entrepreneur, there are so many things you don't really understand how to apply, even though you are exposed to them at the knowledge phase or the knowledge realm. So I switched, and I started listening mostly to Nigerian entrepreneurs and other African entrepreneurs, the likes of Vusi Mbakwayo, Strive Masiyiwa, and some other people. These guys were also talking about the same thing that the white people are talking about, but their message is somehow different. We can relate to it. It's more practical, it's more applicable, it's more down to earth. It doesn't sound too robust like the way the white person would make it, but it's made a lot of sense to me as an African entrepreneur. So I learned that when you listen to people who have actually done it, they may not sound as robust and as sophisticated as some of the people that you love, but they often offer you practical and applicable information, just like we are doing in this program. So please, if you know you don't have a large number of people who really want what you have to offer, your chances of building a successful business in Africa is very limited. Someone said, please, what are their names? I don't know who you are referring to.
African entrepreneurs. I didn't hear them.
Okay, I mentioned Strive Masiyiwa. I mentioned Vusi Mbakwayo, but those guys are like the bigger ones. I have some other people that I listen to and I follow, the likes of Victor Ebobasi, Chinonso Obuogu of Sabi Writers, I think. There's also Simeon Anobi of Connected Analytics. There's plenty of them. You just have to look, and I follow all of them on Facebook. I listen to them. I've worked closely with some of them, and so I learn from them very well. But that's just me. You can find your own people for yourself. So we also hold these truths to be self-evident, that ideas are nothing without execution. You see, sometimes people come and say, oh, I have this idea, I don't want to share it so that nobody will steal it. I laugh at them. Ideas are nothing. Ideas are important, of course. Ideas are powerful. Ideas are the beginning to becoming a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever. But without execution, your ideas are nothing but nothing. For ideas to be something, there has to be the power to execute them, the power to bring them into reality. So in order to build a business, we have to bring idea and bridge it with execution. Idea has to meet execution. And the thing that goes into execution is product and markets. There has to be productization. That is turning the idea into products. That's where we need execution. Someone needs to be able to process the idea and convert it into a purchasable item known as product. And then somebody needs to move it to the market and actually get the consumers to purchase it and pay. And that is what we call the market. So execution is about bridging the gap between productization and the marketing. Once you have an idea and you have the capacity to execute it, you will eventually have what is called a business. All right. So here are some important notes I want you to keep in mind. The first one is that ideas are the foundation of any product, and they are the starting point for any innovation. There can't be innovation without ideas. There's got to be some ideas that comes into your head. Two, ideas or an idea can be a valuable asset. An idea can be an asset, no doubt. If it has the potential to solve problems or meet the needs of a market, then it is a wonderful idea. And of course, it could be an asset. And then an idea alone is not enough to create value. So in order to create value, we need more than idea. We need execution and implementation. And those execution and implementation are crucial to turning the idea into a successful product. Now, let me drop this side message for some of us who are technology driven. If you're a tech person and execution is not your strongest suit, I would recommend you have a co-founder who is an executionist, someone who gets the job done, someone who moves, not someone who is always constantly at the thinking phase. Some people have been thinking about one idea for over 3 years, 10 years. You're wasting your time because the times have changed. People are no longer in the dark. You wake up the next day, you see a lot of people have started implementing your idea all over the place. So you need someone who knows how to execute. And if you yourself can, especially if you are still young, you need to develop the capacity to execute. Be the actor, be the one that takes action and is able to take an idea and execute it. Let me tell you something. If you have an idea and I have the power to execute it, and I don't have the idea, I will very likely be more successful than you. I will very likely be richer than you just by simply having the power to execute. Why? Because ideas can be bought. You can simply go online, you can simply chat with people, you can simply look around you and you can find ideas. You can assemble people and say, hey, give me ideas. They will give you ideas. But you see, execution is what makes the difference. The both of us can start the same business and I will still beat you to the business, or you might still beat me to the business, not necessarily because you are too spiritual and not necessarily because your idea is better than mine, but just because you are great at execution. You know how to get the thing done. This is a superpower. The ability to get something done is the most powerful thing on earth because not everybody has this skill. And you have to develop that skill. You have to be that person that can get things done. Other people are still thinking and planning and dreaming and praying, but you are getting it done. You are killing the giants and killing the beast and getting the job done, penetrating the market, distributing, surprising, creating stuff. That is who you have to be. And also, building an actual product is essential to realizing the potential of an idea. Every idea holds $1 billion potential. Every idea holds $1 billion potential. But it is looking for someone who can turn that idea into an actual product. And look at this, products are built, products are developed. Products don't just exist. An idea can exist, an idea can just drop in your head, but products don't just drop in your house. Someone has to do the designing. Someone has to do the graphics, the naming, the registration, the trademark. Someone has to do the actual branding and then eventually take it to the market. Someone has to work out the website, has to work out the accounting parts. You see, when it comes to products, it comes down to work. When it comes to idea, you can just be in your bathroom and an idea will drop in your head. You could be in the kitchen, an idea will drop in your head. So the difference between the successful entrepreneurs and the failures is that the successful ones are great at executioning. A product is a tangible result of the creative process that transforms an idea into something that can be used or consumed. So when we want to develop products, we go into a creative process and then we turn ideas into things that can be used. A product can generate revenue, a product can create jobs. If you create a product that has to be sold, you will need customer care. That is jobs. You will need a graphic designer. That is jobs. You will need a website designer. That is jobs. You will need marketers and salespeople. That is jobs. So products create jobs. Ideas don't. Ideas just exist in your head. But the moment you want to turn that idea into a product, it creates a chain of events that is very, very profitable and economically viable. Ideas solve problems, among other benefits. So finally, the value of a product lies in its ability to solve real-world problems and meet customer needs, not imaginary problems. There are people going around saying, oh, I want to solve this problem, but the problem they are solving has already been solved. I remember someone who created a technology and he was like, this technology is going to help people to do this, to do that. I said, but there is already an existing technology that solves the problem. People are not looking for another social media. Nobody is out there looking for another social media. We already have Facebook and Twitter. We have Instagram. We have, what is it called? TikTok and the rest of them. So people are not out there looking for a new social media. Instead, they are saying, hey, Facebook, can you make yourself better? Because I don't want to leave Facebook to go into another new one and then start making new friends and then start trying to figure it out. I'm going to miss all my friends if I have to. Think about that. The solution you are creating, does it solve real world problem, not imaginary problem, not problems that exist in a vacuum, but real tangible problems and meet customer needs? That's one question you need to ask yourself. So to boil it down, you need to have an idea as an entrepreneur, as a social entrepreneur, because I could see that, Mr. Chinedu, I think you're gearing towards the social entrepreneurship. You need to have an idea, all right? So what is the idea? To empower young people in Nigeria, or to bring financial inclusion, or to bring political awareness, whatever it might be, to strengthen or to empower women with economic skills. That's an idea. But that idea needs to be turned into a product. So what is the product? The product could be a forum for social entrepreneurs. A forum is a product, in case you're not aware, at least from a business sense, all right? A forum is the product. Or it could be a program. It could be a TV program, a radio program. It could be a retreat. That is the product. So the goal of the product is to execute the idea, because for you to transform people, you need to have a product. And the idea is to transform people, but the product is the platform. And then you need to launch to the market. The market is the people. Who are the people who are going to buy this product or buy into this idea? We're talking about the people now. And then once you do that, then you have a business or an organization, as the case may be. So I want you to think about this and see how I'm trying to simplify this process, because I don't want you to misunderstand it. Have an idea, build a product, go to the markets, build a business. So when you think of the business, you're thinking of the end. Business is the end. But what is the means? The means is an idea that is converted into a product, or that is transformed into a product that meets market needs, and then that generates profits. And then you have a business. A case in point is Facebook. What is the idea? The idea of Facebook is to create a social networking platform that connects people worldwide using the internet. So what is the product? The product is the mobile app that you downloaded, or the web app that you use on your system for messaging, photo sharing, and it is very user-friendly, and it is used to engage with family and friends. that is the product. The app is the product. And by the way, when it comes to Facebook and some other business model like Facebook, there is something I want you to understand. It's not complicated, but it's also arguable. We have users and then we have customers. We have users and we have customers. The users are you and I that are using Facebook, but Facebook also has its customers. And those customers are people that actually pay Facebook. So those are the advertisers. Myself, for instance, in a typical day, maybe I spend nothing less than 5,000 on advertising every day, advertising some of our services and products and things like that. So I am a customer and I'm also a user, luckily for Facebook. But sometimes not all users are customers and not all customers are users. So the market for Facebook, they want people who want to connect with others and share updates and engage with social interactions. Later, they expanded into businesses and organizations. That was a later, but at the initial stage, it was just to connect students with other students, for social interaction. So what business did they create? They created an advertising company and data analytic company. Some of us here might not know, but Facebook actually makes its money not when you recharge your phone like some people think, or when you send messages on Facebook like some people think. No, Facebook makes money from people like us who pay Facebook to show you our adverts. That's how Facebook makes money. And they make money in millions in seconds. That's a very lucrative business, by the way. The second case in point is Nestle. Nestle's idea is to provide quality food and beverage products that cater to consumers' nutritional needs and preferences. So you see products like milk, yogurt, cheese, confectionery items like chocolate and candies, culinary products such as seasonings and sauces, bottled water, coffee. They went into a whole lot of things. The goal of Nestle is to become the leader in food and beverages, quality ones. So who are they targeting? They are targeting everyday consumers, families, individuals, pet owners who are looking to be able to cater for their people or their dogs and their animals. So that is their market. And what eventually became their business, they went into manufacturing because you have to manufacture, and they also went into distribution of their food, beverage products and consumers. So you can see that their business model revolves around generating revenue through the sales of their products and building brand loyalty, because of course they have so many products. Now they have to have brand loyalty. This is one of the things I feel that I am doing with the Fodax brand, right? You build one successful business and then you create some other sub businesses under it and then grow from there. So over time, one business is going to have so many other aspects of it that are very, very successful. Let's talk about the product development value proposition framework. So what I'm about to explain to you is how do we think or come up with a product development that will likely succeed? If you want your products to be acceptable in the marketplace, what is the thinking, or what should be the thinking behind it that will make it successful? The first thinking is you ask yourself, who is this product for? Who is this services? Please, when I say product, I also mean services, all right? I'm going to use product for the sake of, so that I won't be repeating product and services. So when I say product, I also refer to services. As a matter of fact, as a service provider, one of the things I've taught myself is to think of my service as product, because when you think of your service as product, you take your time to develop them into something that is very, very comprehensive. So it has helped me and it might help you. So for who? Who are my target markets? You have to clarify that. Now, when we say for who, I know some of you will say for everybody. There's no product that is for everybody. Even if your product is for everybody, like water, you really shouldn't even say it is for everybody, because you can't really market and target everybody. As a marketing consultant, I can't really help you to target everybody. I can only help you to target a specific market, because you don't have the amount of money or time or resources it takes to target the whole world. You're not Coca-Cola, all right? So for who? Is this for middle-aged men? Is it for middle-aged men in Nigeria or in Port Harcourt? Is this for educated females in Abia State? You know, you have to go down even to, is it for single mothers who are struggling and looking for alternative means of earning? You have to be that specific. You have to be very certain of the markets that you hope to target. Then secondly, you have to look at what are they dissatisfied with? Okay, what are the existing solution that they are not okay with? So this solution is existing, but they are not okay with it. Again, using the Uber and taxi situation. Taxis are existing, but some customers are not comfortable with taxis, especially the ones that are already earning and has to meet up, the ones that have a lot of respect for themselves and wouldn't want to share or wouldn't want to sit in a dirty place. So they are dissatisfied with the existing solution. So you have to look at what is existing and how are they satisfied with it, dissatisfied with it, and I'm trying to bring in a solution that will satisfy their needs. And then you ask yourself, due to what? So for who, dissatisfied with what, and due to what? Due to an unmet need. What could that unmet need be? All right, what could that unmet need be? Is it the need for safety and protection? Is it the need for self-development? Is it the need for spiritual growth? Is it the need for academic success? Is it the need for financial prosperity? You have to know what is that unmet need. And then you now name your venture, all right? And then you say, this venture offers a dash. What does it offer? What products, what services, what product category does it offer? So let's say your venture is Chinedu International Limited, all right? So Chinedu International Limited offers a whatever, for the sake of whatever. So now that provides, so once you mention the category, okay, now you have to say what it provides, the key benefits of your solution. It could be mentoring, coaching young people, empowering young people with financial support. Now I'm going in the direction of humanitarian enterprises, okay? So you have to know what examples I'm giving and then think of how you can apply it to yours. So for those of us who are doing businesses that are purely for profit, I could say Fodax Capital, because I'm hoping to have a Fodax Capital that invests in businesses, offers. Someone is requesting to record this meeting locally. Okay, I'm going to allow that. I don't know why you want to do that, but it's fine. So we offer training services that provides, you can see that provides access to mentoring, coaching, self-development, and resources that helps individuals to grow and become a better version of themselves. So think of your business in this framework. It will help you to go a long way. Let's talk about the product development process. But before we do that, please, I would like to know those who are following. I'd like to get some response from you so that I'm sure you are following. Mrs. Hadiza, I know you are here.
Following Dr. Mike.
Okay. Okay, very good. Saliu, are you still connected?
Yes, I'm with you, sir. Follow.
Okay. Rabiu Sanusi, are we connected? Are you following? Okay. Obina
Yes.
said I'm following. Abu Victor said I'm following. Okay. Rabiu has responded. I'm following. Great. All right. So we continue. I don't want you to be left behind. So now let's talk about the product development process. What are the processes that are involved in product development? So I have to share the ones that I'm familiar with because a lot of people have their own concepts and ideas. I titled mine the IPMP. The I stands for ideation. This is the process where you conduct research and planning. Please, if you're developing a product, remember when I say product, it also includes services. So let's say, for instance, Rabiu would want to create a service for assisting undergraduate students with their research work in school, for instance. That's the idea. Now she needs to do research. How many undergraduate students are we going to be able to attend to? Which school are we going to be starting with? She might say, okay, let's start with my current school. All right. And who are the ones that usually require assistance with doing this project? And then she has to do some planning. How much will it cost me to be able to solve this problem? How much will I be able to charge for people to buy into this? And there's a lot of things going online in Nigeria. I know people go into this thing they call it high profile charging and all that. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, okay? I believe in fairness. I believe if you are charging, your charges should be fair. At least that's how I've lived my life. Okay, sometimes I charge clients and they realize that, oh, if you know, because these guys, some of them are very, very extremely wealthy, and I could have decided to charge more, but then I still charge what I normally charge. This is because I'm not charging you for you, I'm charging you for me. I'm charging what is comfortable. And that's why I don't feel bad when someone complains that my service is expensive or something, because I know I go to great extent to ensure that not only do I provide the highest value possible, but also I provide the most affordable fee that is possible. I give you a case in point. In Abuja, we offer a 1-month training every weekend, Saturdays and Sunday, 2 to 5 p.m. for just 65,000 naira. Now, some people will say, oh, 65,000 is too much. Well, wait until you see people who charge 150K for 3 days or 2 days. I do a whole month. As a matter of fact, as at the last time I checked in Abuja, there is no other institution that offers up to a month training because it costs a lot. A lot of resources we go into it, a lot of stress and work. Every week you are meeting people, you are going back and forth. But I had to create that, and I gave it a pricing point that I feel is worth what I'm doing, but it's also not too expensive. All right. So you have to think of that. And something that when you earn it, you'll be able to sustain, you know, the cost of running the program. For us, the cost of running the diesel, the cost of paying your staff, paying for the venue, the location, and cost of marketing, and so many other things. All right. And you have to think of your market strategy. How am I going to penetrate the market? Do I need to talk to lecturers to help me talk to people? Do I need to talk to the student union, government to help me promote this program? Do I have to buy someone into the vision so that this person can help me and talk to his or her demographics? You know, business is all about ideation. You have to ideate, you have to think and research and plan. How am I going to do this and do that? That's the first process. Once you complete that process, the next process is prototyping and testing and conceptualizing. So this is the moment you can set up a simple landing page and say, hey guys, I'm trying to do so and so thing. If you know you'll be willing to pay for it, fill this form. That is the moment that reality will hit you. There are a lot of people that were telling you, oh, go for it, we support you, we're praying for you. By the time it comes to pay for it, most of them will not pay. Many of them will run away. Even to fill a form and give you their feedback, a lot of people will not even fill the form. You know, I don't know if it is peculiar to Nigerians, but I discovered that sometimes they might not be very, very supportive. And not because they have any personal beef with you. It's just, I don't know, there is a culture of anything goes. So you have to prototype. You have to create a sample of what you want to offer, a small sample of what you have to offer, and put it out there for the market to have a taste of what you have to offer. They need to have a taste of what you have to offer. And that comes with prototyping. If it's a technology, you create what we call the minimum viable product, the MVP. That is the smallest amount of the product that you're going to put out there. I'm currently working with a team member of mine to develop a gaming application. And we are planning that in the next 6 weeks or 8 weeks, we're going to have a minimum value product. And we're going to have only 2 or 3 games there. Then we push out the 2 or 3 games and watch how the market is going to respond to it before we now come back and add up more games or decide that this is not a viable business for us, depending on what we see. So the next thing is market launch. After you have done your prototype could be family and friends and even your classmates testing and giving you feedback. You have not really gone to the market yet. When you go to the market is when you start advertising, full-blown advertising. Hey guys, anybody come on and join. So it is during prototype that people test your product and give you feedback and tell you, oh, remove this. Oh, I saw a color there that is not good. What is that thing doing there? Oh, when I applied, I didn't get the email I was supposed to get. They give you those feedback. You use it and work. So you'll keep the numbers small. You keep the numbers small for you to work on your prototype. But once you have confirmed that the concept is okay, you move to market launch. This is where you start pushing and moving the product to the market for people to purchase them and possibly start making profit. And after that, there's what we call the post-launch, the PL. The post-launch is where you learn and improve and pivot. So essentially, after you have launched, you have to sit back and look at it. What is going on? Is it growing? Is it getting better? Could there be changes? Could there be success? I think one of the first ideas we have about business is that business must succeed. The truth is, in essence, business doesn't always have to succeed. Business is like having a child. You do your best to sustain it, but there is no 100% guarantee that nothing will happen. An accident could happen, health issues, disappointment here and there. So one of the things that holds people back is this fear that, oh, what if the business fails? It's part of learning. If the business fails, you learn. When you learn, your next business, you're going to be smarter, it's going to be better. But you must, of course, put your best foot forward. You must have done all these things. And when you've done all these things, you leave the rest for God or for whatever that you are worshiping or that you believe in. So to share my own personal experience as we are getting towards the end of this session, my personal experience, this is how I execute. And I believe if you learn how I execute, you can look at how you too can start executing, because you need to start executing. You need to get better at executing. By the way, I believe I'm an executionist. I believe I'm very, very good at getting results. I believe that over the years, I've proven to myself, at least, that I can get things done. Because once I have an idea, I'm implementing it immediately. So this is how I look at things and how it's been able to help me to execute. First, I speak with business consultants. So once I have an idea, luckily for me, I'm a business consultant myself. So I have friends who are business consultants. So I simply take my idea to them and I rub minds with them. I'll give you an example. For Fodax Business School, I spoke with Mrs. Ezioku. She's here. I don't know if she can talk, but she's here. I spoke with Mr. Chizo. When I flew to Port Harcourt, I had a brief meeting with Mr. Chizo in my hotel room, and we spoke at length. In fact, that was my first time meeting him. Very wonderful person, very, very agile and active. I love the way he speaks, and very, very vast as well. So I spoke with him regarding it. I asked some of my questions. Even when I went back to Abuja, I still called him. I spoke to him. I said, hey, look at this, look at that. I had to call someone who is in the educational sector as well. Someone who actually owns I think a university or a polytechnic or a higher education. And I spoke at length with him. And I did consultation with different people at different phases. So the first thing I usually do is I speak to a business consultant. The reason this is important to me is because I need expert opinion. I need to hear from someone who understands business and how business works and how business operates. Even if it means paying money to spend time with these people, they could save me time and effort. A business consultant, sometimes like myself, might ask you questions that you're not ready to answer. So if you're talking to a business consultant like myself, you have to make sure you've done your underground work. I don't know about others. I think others are more lenient. For me, I can be a little bit more brutal. Probably because before I talk to my business consultant, I also do my own research. I also try to solve, I don't leave them to solve my problems for me. I come to them with my questions because I genuinely need answers. How am I going to do this? Yeah, I also spoke to Dr. George, at the early stage, the conceptualization stage. I spoke with him for a period of time. We had a back and forth conversation, online, offline, phone calls, different things. All right. So I speak to these people because they can help me. They can help me to think. They can help me to look at potential challenges and problems. They can help me to see things that I'm not seeing. They can help me to explore things. But please mind you that the people you are talking to, they also have their own limitations. Before you meet a business consultant, make sure you do your own research. And if you're a spiritual person like myself, pray about it and think about it. Because if you come to me and you're asking me something about a business that I've done and I failed in it, chances are that I might tell you that you will not succeed. I might start imposing my own limitations on you. So these are all human beings and we all have our limitations. We all have our biases. So do your own work and only take their opinion as a guiding post for you to make better decision. The second thing I do in order to execute is to speak with potential customers. I don't know, some people here may have seen where I put out something regarding the school and I was talking to people. What do you think about this? How do you see this? What do you think about that? Is there something we can do about this? So I was talking to the potential customers. I was asking them questions. Would you buy this? Why? Do you have this challenge? What do you hope to get out of this? All right. So when you talk to potential customers, you listen. You have to listen because these are the people that will eventually pay for whatever it is that you are offering. Sometimes customers don't tell you what you want to hear. Maybe you want to hear that, oh, I cannot live without this. And then they told you, oh, listen, I already have a competition. Instead of you arguing with them, simply ask them a question. Why do you like this competition? What is so special about them? Have they solved this problem and that? Have they also created, because in order to solve some problems, you create more. Have they also created so and so problems? What if there is a solution that can solve this problem without creating this other problem? Would you be open to taking it? If they said no, and a good number of people said no, rethink your stand because you may not be building a product that they were willing to pay for. The next one is I research other people who are doing similar things. In order to do any of my businesses, I've had to research and continuously research so many other schools. Before I started my public speaking school, I worked with 2 different other public speaking schools. And I also researched schools like the Dale Carnegie Institute. I researched Toastmasters. I researched so many other indigenous schools because I'm trying to see who is doing what I want to do. What is so unique about them? What is so special about them? How are they able to do it? So I take my time to research it. When entrepreneurs come to me and I ask them, who else is doing this? They say, nobody is doing it. I tell them you're a liar or you're not good at researching. There's nothing, absolutely nothing you are doing today that somebody is not already doing. They may not do it exactly the way you want to do it, but they're already doing something very, very fundamentally similar. So go and look at it. All right. So study the people who are doing similar things. What can you learn from them? What did you notice about them? How did they start? How did they succeed? I learned that the founder of Rome Business School, at a point, he was the only one lecturing the students in the entire school. And today, Rome Business School has grown to be one of the leading business schools in the world. So that can be comforting to someone in Africa who is starting from nothing. So I research the people doing similar things, and I think you can also do the same. The next thing is I research the risks, the costs, the implications. Listen, there is always an implication to every idea you want to introduce to the market. Some ideas will change you. Some ideas will change how you behave or how you carry yourself. Some ideas will change where you live. Some ideas will change how you present yourself. There are ideas that would even require that people can't have access to you anymore. And there are ideas that require that you have to be a people person. So you have to look at what is the implication of this thing you want to do? What are the challenges? What are the legal implications? There is also legal implication to what you want to do. One of the businesses we wanted to do, we looked at the legal implications and we're looking for loopholes, because it's a good business, but if you want to follow it legally, it is not an illegal business, but you require license, and the licensing is running in millions. How is somebody able to do this? So you look at the challenges. What are the challenges that are involved in starting this business? And you look at the viability. How viable is this business? To be honest, how viable is it? So I often compare my risks to my reward. If the risk is huge and the reward is small, it's not for me. I'm sorry. I sell out the idea. I give it to some other persons. Listen, it's not every idea you have that you must execute. Some ideas you have, find somebody else who is in a better place to execute it, give it to them and partner with them. Possibly partner with them. That will be much, much better than keeping it to yourself. And then tomorrow somebody else that you don't even know starts it. And then you're not saying, oh, I once had this idea. Who is going to believe you? Nobody's going to believe you because you shared it with nobody. All right. So I researched the risks. I researched the cost, the startup cost. How much is it going to cost me to build the website? How much is it going to cost me to set up an office? How much is it going to cost me to build the technology? There are some businesses, if you want to run them, the technology alone will be costing you around 5 million. Who do I have to speak to see if I can bring down the cost to 3 million? And what are the challenges of starting this business? Financial challenges is always there for most Nigerians. The problem we face is usually financial challenges. And then there is government policies depending on the kind of business you want to do. Some businesses require licensing. And then so many other things that you have to look at. So the next thing I do is I reevaluate my resources. I look at the resources I have. How much money do I have to start this business? How much time do I have to invest in this business? Because sometimes you have an idea, but you don't have money. That is the beautiful thing about being young, is that not only do you have ideas, but you have time. But when you are getting to a certain age, you have money, but you may not have time. So the worst part is when you don't have money and you don't have time. That would be very, very disastrous. You're broke and busy. All right, so time, money, connections. Almost every successful business I know requires some form of connection. Every successful business I know. Some little connections here and there. Somebody to point you to the right direction, somebody to give you a number to call, somebody to give you somebody to talk to in government agencies, someone to help you talk to the bank or something. Connection is very, very important in business. And then we look at experience. Do I have the experience to do this business? I think it was 2 years ago, I started a fish grill business. And I didn't have any experience in fish grill or fish grilling. I know I like to eat fish, but doesn't mean I want to be the one roasting it. So I found a space, bought the place somewhere, and then I bought the equipment. I started the hiring process. That business showed me shaggy. That was when I realized that there are businesses that unless you have the time to run them or the experience to run them, you should stay away from them. Not only did I lose money, I lost a lot of things that I acquired. But anyways, I learned 1 or 2 things that have helped me. So today, I calculate myself very well before I venture into other businesses. And I started other businesses that also failed. Started the phone accessories business. Didn't really fail, was doing well, but a couple of things happened along the line and we had to shut down the place. So you learn. That's business for you. No matter the amount of calculation you do, one single government policy can push you out. One problem, one community issue can close down your shop. So you have to prepare yourself for that. But what experience do you have? You have to reevaluate that. What about expertise? I ask myself, what expertise do I have? My next project is to set up a restaurant, a particular type of restaurant. And then I have to review my expertise. Again, I'm not a cook, but my expertise is in business management and advertising. So I can promote the business. I can bring customers for the business. To me, that is okay. All I need to do is hire a good chef, very good one, and then hire a good business manager, and then focus on the marketing, branding, promotion, and the business sense of the business. Once I have that team in place, I believe there's going to be success. So expertise. Do you have the expertise? If you don't have the time, you don't have the money, you don't have the connection, you don't have the experience, you don't have the expertise, please rest. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. All right. If you have the time, but you don't have the money, you can raise money. If you have the time, but you don't have the connections, you can start building connection. That's why people go to schools, people go to seminars and conferences to build connections. If you have the time and you have the experience, you may likely succeed because experience increases your chances of success to a significant level. If you don't have the expertise, you can buy expertise. There are two ways you can buy expertise. You can either take your time and go to school or go to training and gather the expertise. All right, you mustn't start this year. Take this year to build the expertise, and next year or next 5 years to launch or start. That's fine. The second way to buy expertise is to hire someone who actually has the expertise. But in my experience, you shouldn't always rely on hiring people, because once people realize that you need them, once someone realizes that your business cannot exist without them, they will show you shege. They will wake up one day and tell you they are not doing, and you'll be the one begging them. So if you don't want to be at that place where you are constantly begging people, you have to have the expertise yourself. All right. The next thing is I start with minimal expenses. I have a rule. My rule is never spend too much on a startup. If it's a startup, there has to be a limited budget that you're going to commit at the starting point. Let the business prove that it is profitable before you start spending money on the business. Until the business shows itself investable, I keep my money and just invest as much as I can. So let's say the total amount of money that is needed to start this business is 100,000. I bring out 20 to 30,000 and put at the initial stage, and then watch the business to see how the business is going to go before I start putting in more. I'm not saying it has to be profitable. I'm saying it has to show me signs that this business can grow, that this business has potentials. Once it shows me signs, I don't mind putting in more money or raising more funds to put into it. But until then, I have to put in as much as I can so that even if the business does not work, I don't go broke and I don't commit suicide. So this is how I do my thing, and it has been very effective. When we started Swive, which is the online digital business card, maybe I will send the link for Swive. All of us here should have a Swive account for our physical meeting. You know, when we started Swive, I told my partner, Sir Allen, I said, Sir Allen, I know we have the fund to push Swive because, you know, we have our businesses, but I don't want us to invest more than 500,000 in Swive. Swive should not take more than 500,000, and then let Swive show us if it's going to be successful or not. If it gives us sign that it's going to make it, then we can raise more funds and pump into it. But until then, we spend so little that we don't have to lose. So when you take 500K and divide it by 2 partners, you have just about 250,000. That's the kind of money you spend. And even if the business doesn't go well, you don't get to kill yourself. You continue looking for other alternatives. But I've seen a situation where people go and gather 15 million to put in a business that they don't even know if this business is viable in the first place. So maybe they have their own philosophies. This is just mine, and mine is not perfect, but just what saves me from spending too much money. I want to commit just as much as is necessary for the business to show itself that it's going to work. To give you an example, if you want to run a recruitment agency, the basic things you need is social media pages and proper advertising. So you put in money for social media, you put in money for managers, you develop banners and all of that, and then you take maybe 50,000, put it into advertising. If at the end of burning 50,000 naira, at least you don't get at least 20 people asking questions about the business, man, I doubt if there is a business opportunity there. Or maybe you don't really know the business. You don't know who you should be talking to. You don't know who you should be targeting. You don't have the right message. There's a whole lot of things to learn. But that 50,000 naira commitment is what I have to spend to find out if there is a business opportunity here or not. The next thing I do is I focus on the most important I focus on the most important metrics. All right. Luckily for me, I'm not someone that cares so much about what people think. So when I'm starting a business, I understand that this is business. So I have to look at the metrics that are more important for me. There are two metrics that are too important for me. Doesn't mean they are global metrics. It just means for me as an individual, these are the two metrics I care about. Number one is having a great product or service. Whatever I'm offering should be the best that I can offer. It should be competitive. It should be something that when someone consumes it or someone buys it, they will love to recommend it to their family and friends. It should be something that has the mark of work, of excellence given to it. So that is my first metric. That is my first concern. I don't care about fancy branding. I don't care about having an office in Asokoro. I don't care about renting a space for 35 million. That's none of my business. The first thing I want is this product, the real product itself. How magnificent is it? How powerful, how robust, how awesome, how amazing is the product? That's the first thing. The second thing that I worry about is marketing, not office, not staff, not having lawyers, not even CSC or any of those things. No, the second thing I'm worried about is marketing and sales. How can I easily sell these products and services? What will improve my chances of selling them? Of course, that's when CSC comes in. People want to buy something that is legally approved. Okay, fine. I'm going to do CSC. Well, for people to, because this thing requires attendance, people have to come to a certain place. If you're running some businesses, there has to be location. Okay, so I choose a location based on strategic marketing, a location that meets my budget and that also supports people coming to my office. I don't choose a location that is prestigious unless what I'm selling is prestigious. All right. So I look at my marketing and sales. How much am I going to put out for advertising? Online advertising, offline advertising, billboards, banner, even sometimes partnerships. There are individuals you may need to talk to. You have to factor all these fundings in. Those are the two things I want to focus on, because I believe that if you have a great product and you market this great product to the point, okay, I think the network is having issues. Are we still connected? Are we following?
Yes.
Mr. Sali,
Yes, we are.
you said we are following. Any other person? Okay. I hope I'm making sense to you, though. Your voices are somehow. Am I making sense?
Right on.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. So I focus on two metrics, and those two metrics, like I said, is having a great product and having great marketing. Once I figure, before Swive was even developed, they were still developing Swive. I've written a marketing plan. I have a book I shared with my co-founder, the strategic marketing plan, how we're going to market this. What I discovered from that experience is that when you think of a product from a marketing perspective, trust me, you will develop a product that nobody can compete with. Because when you think of a product from a marketing perspective, it will force you to think of selling points. What can I do? What I need to include this. If people are going to embrace this, we must include this. If we don't include this, nobody is going to buy it. So marketers think differently because they think of, what am I going to tell people so that they will buy this thing? Now, because I'm going to tell them this so that they'll buy it, please, developer, you have to include this because I have to promise them this for them to buy this thing. It's very important from a marketing perspective or a marketing angle. So you look at all the businesses I do, I think of the marketing, I think of the sales. If it will be difficult to sell, I'm sorry, I can't start this business because it will be difficult for me to sell. I can't do what I can't sell. I can't do something that at the end of the day, I'm depending on somebody else to help me and sell it. No, instead, let me figure out how to sell it. And if I can't figure out how to sell it, there's no business. This is not a business suitable for me. It is suitable for someone else who has what it takes to run the business. And finally, I learned, you may not have heard of my business failures. Nobody talks about their failures online, but I learned from my successful businesses, and I learned from my businesses that have failed. One of the things I learned recently, we started our company in Anambra State. We moved to Lagos. I moved to Lagos, set up my office in Lagos, trained a couple of persons to be running the Lagos office. Then I used to fly into Abuja and spend 3 days or 2 days to run my training and then go back to Lagos. In 2020, if I'm not sure, yes, 2020, I came into Abuja and one mind asked me, why do you keep on going back to Lagos? Why not just have a third branch here in Abuja? And then I had to do all these things I told you. I spoke to my friends who are doing businesses in Abuja. Then I spoke to the clients, the customers that came to Abuja, that I came to train in Abuja. Almost all the customers were like, Dr. Mickey, please, just come, please. So I was like, okay, positive response. My friends were also telling me, oh, you can live in Abuja. It's not actually as expensive as you think. And then I researched the people who are doing the business in Abuja, and guess what? There was literally no one. They were there, but they were, I don't know how to explain it to you guys. Like some people in Abuja, they just overhype things, They think about things that I don't think any reasonable person is thinking about. They think about packaging contracts. They think of big things, Me as a Lagos boy, I say, in Lagos, we don't used to think of big. We think of small things, you increase it, you build it and all that. Most people that we are doing in Abuja, they were doing 2 or 3 days, which I know is not good. Most people that were doing it in Abuja, they were doing very extremely expensive. I'm talking about 450,000 to 650,000 in 3 days. Like, no, it's not only politicians that want to learn this thing. There should be other people that want to learn it. I also looked, the people that were doing it in Abuja, none of them were advertising. Maybe some of them were advertising, but I didn't see anybody advertising it. So obviously they were playing safe, or they were not good, or they don't know how to advertise. I don't know what the problem might be. So again, I did number 3. I researched other people doing similar things. I researched the risks, the costs, the implications, the challenges. To be honest with you, before I came to Abuja, I booked my flight through and fro. I paid for my coming and going. The idea was that if I come to Abuja and start and it doesn't work, all I will need is to borrow money and go to the airport and japa back to my Lagos and continue life. So I have already solved point number 4. I researched the risks, the cost implications, the challenges. In fact, when I came, I had to sublet. I didn't immediately go and get a space because I didn't know if it was going to work or not. So I rented an office that is owned by someone else. I said, hey, I want to use your office only on these days. How much is it? Some people said it was expensive. I said, well, at least I'm not buying seats. I'm not paying for AC. I'm not paying for lights. I don't have to worry about if the office locked, is it not locked? I don't have to worry about cleaning. I don't have to worry about secretarial administrative duties because they provided it for me. So I said, yeah, let me use it. So once I used it for 1 year, realized that the business is going to stand, then immediately I went and got my own space. I also reevaluated my resources. I looked at my time. I had time. I have enough time. My money, I saved money during the pandemic. We were doing 3K, 5K classes, got a lot of money, packed it, saved a little bit of them. Experience, I had experience. Expertise, I was good at it. I started with minimal expense. Like I told you now, I started with minimal expenses. I started, with something I can. And then I focused on I focused on the most important metrics, making sure that the product or the service is robust, is powerful, cannot be competed with. How I do this, how I train myself to do this is, if my product is supposed to be 100K, I try to deliver a 500K service. If my fee is supposed to be 100,000, I tell myself, how can I provide a service that is 500? So I plan with 500K. So that when I deliver it, they're wondering, is it for this money I paid, you are killing yourself like this? Or are you expecting more money from me? I said, no, I'm not expecting more after. I've just delivered the services that I promised you. So when other people are promising 100K, are asking for 100K, delivering 50K service, I'm asking for 100K, delivering 500K service. It's unbeatable. But you still have to learn. I learned from my mistakes. I learned from my failures. I learned from my success. And also I unlearned. There are so many things you think, but you unlearn. One of the things I unlearned is that business is all about packaging. A lot of people have told me that. A lot of mentors, friends, consultants. When I went to Lagos, they told me you have to drive fancy cars. I said, why? If someone wants to learn public speaking, what do they care about the kind of car I drive? They said, no, you can't make it. I've made it without any of those things. So I had to unlearn. People don't care as long as you are delivering what you promised. And what you promised is not financial success. Of course, if you are teaching people how to make money, of course you have to look rich. But if you are teaching people how to speak, I don't see the correlation between being rich and speaking. Just be very, very great at speaking and be very, very great at showing them the way. All right. So once I unlearned, and I started pivoting, I started making changes here and there, and that has helped me to significantly improve my life. So this is the story of my life and my journey. I hope you got value. And at this moment, I would like to take questions from members of the audience. Thank you. I hope we are still connected. Nobody's asking questions.
Well, Dr. Mike, I learned a lot. I don't have any question tonight, but I will need to listen over again. I think along the way I slept off. Sorry about that, but I'll have to listen to it again. And if I have any issue, I'll just private chat to you. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. That's fine. That's fine. Saliu raised hand. Saliu asked a question. He said, can a business succeed without a mentor? Can a business succeed without a mentor? The answer is yes. You can succeed without a mentor because sometimes success can happen as a matter of luck. You can be lucky, all right? Maybe you created something that people have been looking for, and a lot of people were lucky to find you, and so yeah, it's possible. But you as an individual, I don't see why you should not have a mentor, or at least a tribe of mentors, people that you listen to, people that you learn from, and people that you are learning from, because sometimes you may be discouraged. Sometimes you may need to rub minds. Sometimes you may need direction. Sometimes you may need support. People like Dr. George at different points have supported me, pat me on the back. Even when I came to Abuja, I expressed some of my fears with him, and he would tell me, no, don't worry about this. It's going to work as long as you do this. As little as those support might seem, they actually keep you going. They actually keep you going. They actually keep you strong. So I don't see why anyone would not want to have such opportunity if you can afford it. But it doesn't mean that your ability to succeed depends on you having a mentor, because some people even have mentors they don't listen to. A lot of people today don't really pay attention. You can have mentors, you talk to them, they will do the opposite of what you're telling them. So at the end of the day, it's not really about having a mentor or not having a mentor. It's about being extremely committed and being able to execute on your ideas. Nancy, please go ahead with your questions. Nancy, you raised your hand. I'm waiting for your question.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
I want to ask, you talked about marketing. So now what I want to actually know is which one is preferable, online marketing or which is best, online marketing or on-site marketing, which is best, preferable?
Do the both of them. You're an entrepreneur. You try the both of them. You see what works for you. What works for me may not work for you. Do the both of them. But of course, start with the online. Why? Because online is easy to start. It's cheaper to start. So put a banner, a billboard in Abuja, in a place like Warimpa, a month should be maybe 350,000 for smaller banners, a smaller billboards. The standard ones may be 500,000 a month. How many small business owners can cough out 350K to put a banner? And one banner is usually not enough. You have to do like 4 or 5 if you want to really make noise. So again, to print flyers, I print flyers at 30,000 for maybe 300 pieces. And then somebody has to go and distribute those flyers. And sometimes, because you can't distribute them yourself, you have to hire people. And those people are looking like they are not really representing your brand because they are not that flashy. You get? So now you have to also pay for their transportation. And then so many risks involved. What if something happens to them while they are trying to share your flyer? What if they run away with your flyer? What if they keep your flyer in the house and tell you that they give it to 200,000 people? You never can tell. But with online, I'm telling you, sometimes on Facebook, on Instagram, I spend just 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, and you can see the result. You know it is working or it's not working. You know how many people we are reached. 20,000 persons we are reached, 18 registered. This one happened. You know the complaints they are having. You know the accounts. You can still retarget them. So there is no way you can compare traditional marketing and online marketing. Online marketing beats traditional marketing in many ways. I was on radio station some days ago. You know, I had to buy fuel 540 naira per liter. You know, and then go to the station. The time I spent at the station just to speak for 15 minutes, how many persons registered at the end of the day? So, but then I still have to do it, and I'll continue doing it because that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 persons is still something. It's not bad, but online is very convenient, and I can start whenever I want. I can spend however I have. I can even spend 3K. There was a time I did 1K just to sponsor reels and let the reels be going. I knew the thing was just chopping my money, but let it be going. That one is just for whoever might pick. And guess what? People were still picking on those reels. So online would be my preferable mode of starting, especially as someone who is not heavily funded. But if you're heavily funded, go online, go offline, go everywhere, be everywhere. Nancy, I hope I answered your question.
Hello, sir. Can I hear my question?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. So I have 3 questions. One of the questions have been answered during the lectures, which is on this McDonald's case study. I was like, why is it that someone from outside spot the opportunity of McDonald's going global, expanding or scaling? It was now that during your presentation, I realized that so speaking to consultants, they may have an insight of what you may not have seen. So the crux from what I see is that it's like a consultant because of his expertise in marketing and sales. So he has actually understand the loophole and the potential of that business. That is something that I actually learned from this your presentation. So the next question I have, sir, is with regards to prototyping, testing, and conceptualization. So you made mention that is at the post-launch stage, that is when you learn, improve, and pivot. So my question is, sir, at this prototyping stage, what kind of market or customers do you have like a feedback from them? And at this post-launch, which kind of target market do you have kind of feedback that you learn to improve that you couldn't improve at the prototyping and testing or conceptualizing stage?
Okay, to answer the last question you asked, when you are prototyping, not everybody that you give the prototype is particularly your customers. For instance, someone like myself, if I'm prototyping my idea, I can share it with some of my friends. Some of them are not my target customer. I only share it with them so that they can give me their own little feedback and to create awareness. All right. Again, it depends on the kind of product you are prototyping, because there are products that it has to get to the actual customer, you know, because of the nature of the product. But there are things that even your family and friends can start with first, just to give you a bit of idea here. Oh, this color, you said this thing is supposed to turn red, but when I click it, it's not even turning anything. Then you go back and fix it. At this point, you really don't even have a product. What you have is just a prototype. A prototype is like a minimal version of the actual product. So most of the prototypes don't look fancy, they don't look wonderful, they don't look great, they just look basic for you to get started and get into the market. All right. So at that prototype level, some of the people, not most, but some of the people you give it to may not be the actual customers. So it will be family and friends together with some of the potential customers that I'm hoping to target so that they can give me feedback. The reason is because if you give your actual customers a prototype without telling them that it's a prototype and they interacted with it and they were disappointed, they are gone. Even tomorrow they are seeing your advert. They say that app, I registered for that app. I don't know what they are doing there. Their logo was even looking like a cockroach. So they will have a negative experience and they will not forgive. They will not understand because they are not your friends. All right. So you give this thing to a circle. In our own time during the swipe, we created a circle of people that we know and we put them into a WhatsApp group. We spoke to them that this is a prototype, that we just want you to interact with it and give us feedback. It is not the real thing. So they will be more patient. They will communicate to us. They are not disappointed because they understand what we are doing. After which we now opened it up for the market to come in. Because once the market comes in, they'll be expecting perfection. They'll be expecting you to deliver well. And so many things will start happening. So that is for the prototyping. The post-launching and the launching, when are you supposed to learn? You're supposed to be learning from the very beginning. Why I had to put the learn at post-launch is that after people have launched, sometimes they stop paying attention. They just keep on pushing. So I was just trying to remind you that even after you've launched, you have to make sure that you step out and think and watch what you're doing and ask yourself, am I getting this right? Is there something that needs to change? Is there something that needs to improve? Is there something that needs to give way? Is there something I need to stop doing? And all of those questions. So, Mr. Saliu, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir. The last one, sir. What is your strategy with regard to researching your competitor or competition?
My strategy for researching my competition is, first of all, to know all of them. I need to identify my competitors. I need to know what are they doing, how are they doing it, what is their key strengths, what are they good at, you know. And the beautiful thing about the marketplace is that sometimes the marketplace is not as demanding as we think. A little bit of tweak, you know, something as simple as classy. Like somebody could research me and say that, okay, I'm really good at what I'm doing, but I'm not really providing a thoroughly executive training, like the type that you are doing and you are drinking wine. And you have fancy. I had a session with a client in Transcorp, and we went to my office. After sitting in my seat, he told me that he had to go for massage and he paid whether 80,000 or so for them to help him with his waist because my seat affected his waist. so maybe somebody could come up with a public speaking class that it's almost like you're in a private room. You know, you just sit down and then they keep wine and then they talk, and you know, somebody could come up with that. And then the people that are moved by such things, we go for those classes. We have created something that will cater for both the middle class and a bit of the lower class. So first of all, I need to know, what are you doing? Who are you serving? And how much are you going out of your way to satisfy customers? I think the most interesting thing for me is when I realized that a lot of business owners don't really go out of their way for customer satisfaction. That is good news for me because, hey, I'm willing to go out of my way to satisfy customers, because that is the beauty of this work. Once you satisfy one, they tell others, they tell others, they tell others. And then before you know what is happening, you wake up one day. I probably have some of the most interesting public speaking testimonials anybody can think of. You know, I've had a client even tell me that if somebody is afraid to pay for your training, tell the person to come to my office and I'll guarantee the person that if they don't get value, I'll pay them back the money that they paid. That is crazy. For someone to swear for you to that length, that is crazy. That is massive. All right. And I believe that is because when I researched Abuja people, I saw that they had this relaxation, they had this calmness, they have this, you know, there is no zeal, there is no passion, there is no being 101 committed to helping somebody to actually get results, not just impressing them by booking hotels and having expensive dinner and giving them food. They came here for public speaking, you are giving them food. Did they tell you they're hungry? And then you are charging them, you know, exorbitant amounts just because of those packaging in quotes. So I research all of these things. Who are they? What do they do? What is their background? And you know, sometimes you see something that can even discourage you, to be honest. You see people that are well-funded, people that are more educated than yourself. You see people that are bigger than you, that are maybe more mature than you, which can give concern depending on your industry. You know, people that are more experienced than you, people that are more connected than you can see all of those things. But then you begin to ask yourself, what can I do? Knowing that these people have all of these things, what do I have that they don't have? Luckily for me, I have time, I have knowledge and experience, I have the ability to develop products, I can develop things, I can make things much better than they are. You just give me what you have, I can turn it into something much better. So I came from that particular angle, and luckily for me, I'm able to penetrate. So you study everything that you can find about them, but don't let them intimidate you. Study their weaknesses, study their strengths, and then ask yourself, what do I have that they don't have? What can I do that they can't do? Sometimes it's not always about price, okay? It's not always about offering something cheaper. You can find other ways, all right? Thank you.
I think what I was asking is that even
Okay.
knowing them first,
Okay.
knowing who they are, where they are, and your ability to study what they are offering.
Okay.
Because at times, the reason I think that why some founders used to, when you ask them, is there any competition, or do you know someone that is doing, they say no, is because maybe they are limited within their circle. They don't know who is offering this, and they don't have any resources that can take them.
But you simply go online and you find these things, or ask questions. If you go online, if you really look hard, you'll find them. If you ask questions, you'll find them. There's a whole lot of people out there. Even when we were the kind of platform I wanted to build for our business school, initially I thought, okay, this is going to be robust. But when I went online, I saw that other people are doing it. And not only are they doing it, they had over 3 billion naira in funding. And that kind of shocked me, because I don't see how you be competing with someone that has 3 billion naira in funding. You know, but then again, you find a way. You just, okay, so they have funding, good, that is their strength. But what is their weakness? Because sometimes when you have funding, you lack grassroots strategy. You overthink things, you think big things, and then you leave the little ones. So someone that is very smart can take those little ones, build it up in the next 5 years, have more reputation than you. All you have is just fancy building an apartment, but he has more grassroots impact than yourself. And that could be a very big strategy. Plus, Nigeria is a very unique marketplace. You don't really, there's nobody that can dominate the entire Nigeria. So all you need is maybe 50,000 customers annually, and you can become any other thing. And the number is there in Nigeria. Even 5,000 people can make you a billionaire in Nigeria. 1,000 people, 300 people, depending on how much you're charging. So you go online, you find these people, you ask questions, you find them, you follow them, you study them, you even register on their platform, you interact with them, register for their own events or their own platform, get to see what they are doing. For my food restaurant, for instance, I've started eating in different restaurants, looking at what they are doing, how they are doing it. You know, some things I'm seeing are scaring me. You know, the cost of running restaurant can be really scary. But again, we'll find a way around all those things. So that is it. I think we've pretty much exhausted our time. We'll take the remaining questions in the group. It's been a pleasure having this session with you. Tomorrow, we continue with the class. Thank you. Good night and have a wonderful day ahead.